right, what is up, everyone? This is episode 15 of Belly Up Sound Off. Got a little different group today. He didn't want to be introduced as a troll, but so I'll surpass the troll. So we got old Zach Mack here from Puck Pass. We got Rattlesnake from Chairgating. We got old Marc here. Are you still corner booth? Are you doing the Riley report? What's going on here?
I mean, I don't want to get Jared upset. No, he's not here. But independent, freelancer, obviously.
There you go.
Oh,
got some things in the making.
Which, yes, as you guys can see, Jared's not here. We all made that decision. He is no longer with the company. No, he couldn't make it tonight. So we appreciate everything Jared does for us. But we got a couple topics we want to touch on today, and then we're kind of gonna wing it. Obviously, we're gonna touch on the college football playoffs, a little bit of college hoops. Probably talk maybe a little NASCAR, depending on. I know Rattlesnake was at the race this weekend. I'm sure that was a delightful race.
In case everyone wants an intermission, I can talk NASCAR.
Yeah. So and then, but I think we're gonna lead off the show because we alluded to this last week before the Baker Mayfield comments came out, before Jermaine Whitehead essentially went hood or whatever you want to call it. We talked about the possible implosion of the Browns. This was a week ago, before this all happened. Now we are, like we said, Baker Mayfield going off, OBJ on the sideline saying he can't get the ball. And then Dustin Fox makes a tweet about Jermaine Whitehead missing a tackle and alluding to, just pretty much nobody playing the way they should be, which the Browns, we said it, we've talked about it. I know none of you guys are Cleveland fans, myself as well, but being out of Ohio, we kind of adapted the whole Browns. I know you guys don't want to take credit for that, but the Baker Mayfield, we were heavy on that. We said it could go one of two ways, and we are seeing which way it's going now. So to get right into it, like I said, Jermaine Whitehead, Dustin Fox said, hey, something about missing a tackle, and he didn't even tag him. Somehow it got back to him, and from what I hear and from what everybody else hears is before this dude's even out of his pads, he's in the locker room going straight off the deep end, essentially at Dustin Fox and anybody else stepping up to the plate. It led to his release, which is you don't see that a lot as far as social media conduct and stuff like that. There's a lot of teams, but real quick to change speeds, if this is a star player, is this handled differently in any organizations as opposed to maybe he started and stuff like that, but say an AB, is this a different situation? Do they get released? Your guys' takes on it? No, that's either way. I think there's a lot behind it, but Marc's shaking his head. What's your thoughts on this? The whole interaction. We're not going to go into detail, but I'm sure everybody's seen the tweets. They were posted. His account before he even left the stadium was deactivated. So then he went to Instagram, and then he immediately afterwards went to LinkedIn of all places. So
did he actually? I thought that was
awesome.
No,
it's professional as hell.
Yeah. So depending, where you're at, but Marc,
just making sure he can't get another job. Smart.
Yeah. So what? Well, I guess. What do you guys think about this, Marc?
I think if it's a star player, he doesn't get released right away. There's gonna be a lot of controversy. He also said things that are absurd to the point where he's talking about shooting people, murdering people.
That, yes, yeah.
The good thing about AB is that you wouldn't be able to understand what he was saying, so that would make it a little bit easier. But the dude he's not anything crazy of a special player, and he just went off and decided to just end his career through social media and every aspect of social media. So, he's an idiot. He got cut. If it was AB did a lot of bad things and still got signed, and he's still talking about getting signed. So, I think it's just Jermaine Whitehead just an idiot, and that's it.
Zach,
yeah,
I'm sorry, Rattlesnake.
I'm just gonna cut over. I'm gonna be the chair here and just take over. I think anybody that tweeted that kind of stuff, I don't know if they would have got cut necessarily, but that was some pretty bad shit. The only thing that I'm upset about is that I wasn't quick enough to, add him or something. I would have loved for him to like
Getting
be
in
like,
on
"I'll
that.
kill you, cracker." Like that would have been great. Like no professional athlete has ever threatened to kill me in a racially insensitive way. So that would have been spectacular to experience. I'm jealous of all the people that got to experience that. And it was hilarious. I'm glad that I got to at least witness the roller coaster happen.
Was he like? To me, he's like looking for an avenue out. Like you said, he wasn't even tagged, and before he's out of his pads, he's already like. Is he just going on Twitter like searching his name? Like, what are people saying about me? How can I get out of this organization right now?
He immediately, his first thing was about. I mean, there was no build. It was just immediately. I have a cast on my hand. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna shoot. I mean, there was no like build to it. So I would assume his friends probably tagged him here and here, but the whole Dustin Fox thing was he wasn't tagged, but I guess if you search your name in the search bar, it'll highlight your name in certain tweets. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I guess that's one thing I never have to look forward to is being famous and having to go off on somebody. So
Well, he's only 26 years old, so like to say, I mean, yeah, he could have wanted to lead the Browns. You could have just stopped at one of the
like
tweets.
You said, 26 years old. If you're an athlete, you've seen crazier things happen. People that aren't high draft picks or undrafted free agents that become stars. So
Yeah, I don't know.
The whole situation's crazy.
It did not pay off. Also,
it's just crazy how we alluded to it last week. We've talked about the Browns till we're blue in the face. Everybody the bandwagon was full. You got, they're going to win the Super Bowl. Everybody's going to talk about them. Otherwise, they're going to implode. And right now, it doesn't look good. And unfortunately, the biggest dumbass to me that looks and listening to him is Freddie Kitchens. His press conferences, the things he says today, he said something about the first 8 games mean nothing. All right, dude, it just mailed it in at that point. Like,
yeah,
when you're head coach, I mean.
When you're the Patriots and go 8-1, sure, the first 8 games.
I mean, I mean, it is what it is. But we had a poll, it was a stupid poll, but it made you think. We didn't give you any other option. You got Freddie Kitchens, or you got your boy. God, I can't even think of his name.
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson. That's what the Browns have been left with, at least the past couple years. So.
I still think Freddie Kitchens is the better option because Hugh proved 2 years in a row to win what, or 2.5 years,
game or 1 game or whatever it was.
And he even went off on like social media, so that was a blessing in disguise that they even got rid of him. But real quick about the Browns, do we think Baker is just all in, no matter what? Like the whole shaving his face 3 times, middle of this game, like. He's just like, if we're going to be bad, I'm going to make us look worse. And if we're going to be good, I'm going to make us look great. Like, it's amazing. Like, he had the greatest image of him with a mustache, looking like the people from, what's the homeless, the Christmas movie when the kids, like, sitting home alone. There it is. I got there.
Homeless movie?
Homeless Alone.
I mean, shit. Speaking of Dreamy White, I used to be homeless soon, but but I mean, dude, Baker is just completely selling this that they're bad. Like, I still am not off the like. I don't think the Browns are like they're not good this year. I'm gonna still have hopes for them because I don't think Baker's garbage yet. But like, he just keeps doing things when he looks terrible at press conferences. And like, dude, like you gotta just. I think he's just all in on making them look bad because he just loves the attention. Like he's like, if we're not going to be good, because I'm going to have attention because I look
the
like
best part about this whole thing is how much the media hyped it. Obviously as well, but now you see the implosion of the Browns, and immediately after that, you see a Hulu commercial with Baker Mayfield, or you see a commercial with him and his wife in the stadium.
Yeah,
him trying,
which
to
are great commercials.
Yeah, they are. But
he's like, really good at commercials.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you see that side of him, and you're like, oh man, you can't not root for him. But then you see the whole situation, and you're like, man, this is just a dumpster fire, going down the river. Like, I mean, it is what it is. It was to be expected one way or another.
Lose the Broncos, that's like you can be a bad team and still beat that Broncos team with Brandon Allen, their backup quarterback that has never started an NFL career game. Like
he was just dropping dimes all over them.
It's like you gotta at least, if you're gonna be bad, but like eventually think to be good, like you got to beat that Broncos team. But like if you lose to them with like as many assets as they have, like I don't care if OBJ's not getting the ball. That's obviously an issue, but you have Chubb, you have OBJ, Jarvis, you have defensive players. Like you should be able to beat that Broncos team. So that's the problem. That's why I think Freddie Kitchens is going to get the one and done because there's no way they do another Hugh and hold on to somebody that they know is probably not going to be good.
Factory of sadness. Quickly, how quickly they thought it was going to turn around and immediately went back to where it was. So moving on. Obviously, today kicks off college hoops. We were talking about this a little bit off air before, based off the way that they do it. Marc was talking about how, well, I kind of brought it up, but you know they always pair the 1 and 2. It seems like in the 3 and 4. You'll never see this obviously in college football because the way the schedules are made, 4 or 5 years in advance, or even some side. But to me is, do you guys look forward to those games? Because like Marc was saying, and the same thing, I kind of feel the same way, is because a lot of times these games are 1 and 2, 3 and 4, but by the end of the season, maybe a handful of these teams are, I wouldn't say they're not relevant, but they're not that top tier team anymore. I mean, do you look forward to the opening weekend of basketball? Does it really hold a lot of weight?
I mean, I think they're doing the best they can. It's football season, and they're just trying to get attention, let people know, like, hey, basketball's back, we're here. And so they do matchups like Kansas versus Duke, or what's the other one? Michigan State, Kentucky. Yeah. Like those are, even if they're not 1 through 4, they're blue blood programs that people want to see match up. So I mean, I think it's smart that they do it. And if you're like a big basketball fan, that's great because you get to watch these new 18-year-old kids come in and see how they perform against other good competition. And it's unfortunate that football doesn't do more of that because that would be fun to watch as a college football fan.
And I think for college football, that almost plays into it better because if you get these big matchups week 1 in college football, it's a lot easier. Well, I mean, I guess basketball too, but it's a lot easier to rebound from a week 1 loss and make a run.
100%, yep.
To make it. So maybe that's why. But I mean, either way, like we'll talk about it. We're going into Alabama, LSU this week, so it seems like. Go ahead.
And the difference is, like, Kansas isn't going to face Duke this year other than this game. Michigan State, Kentucky won't play until they reach, toward, the tournament or something like that. And, college football, even if they didn't schedule years in advance, there's no way Saban's like, yeah, let me face Clemson,
week
like you
1,
said, just blow it the very first game of the season. And because you said it's so much harder for football to get back to that top ranking. I mean, Georgia's going to be fighting the rest of the season, have to win out just to sneak back into the 4. Well, at least we think, based off what we think the rankings are going to be. But I don't know. I just think, like you said, Rattlesnake said, they have to do something to get people to watch this. It's the top blue bloods. I was excited. It's always terrible basketball. Like, these guys have never played with each other, other than the weird preseason games. And they're all just these young studs that are like, wait a second. There's other kids out there that are better than me at basketball. Like, holy shit.
And I got a solution for what you were just talking about. How if you lose week 1 against one of these top programs, it ruins your chances in the playoffs. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later because that was one of the comments for something that we should talk about.
Oh, what a little teaser.
You like that?
So,
you like that? Bring it all the way back around. So you got to keep watching. That's
Cowherd, at 20 minutes into his first segment.
Yeah,
wait for my blazing 5 in an hour.
So Zach is our hockey guru per se, but he follows with everything. So being in the area you're in, close to Memphis, you've had a little taste of I guess college football, college basketball. You got a lot of hype around the basketball program this year. You went to College Game Day this past weekend. You got Memphis, obviously basketball this year. So what are your takes? I mean, if you want to talk a little bit, we can transition once we get into college football. But what's your take on opening weekend? Maybe Memphis in general. You can plug a little of your. It's too cold to go out for College Game Day.
Take us home.
Yeah, College Game Day was crazy. I'll give you a couple seconds on that. I got there 2 hours early. It was not nearly early enough. It was freezing. I took my ass home. So that's about all that was. But as far as
the best part is the night before, he's like, I'm going to be on Snapchat all day for the next 16 hours. And he posted a picture of his sign, and then you never saw a picture from him.
yeah, bro, I stayed up all night making that, and then I get down on Beale Street and I got no service. It's like fuck Sprint.
We should have paid somebody like, yo, get there like sleep over, please.
Yep.
And when we say pay, we mean just do it.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like I'm watching behind the game day set, and I'm like, all right, where's our sign? And then like they go to commercial and they pan like down the road, and I'm like, dude, that's like a mile of people with signs, and like there ain't no damn way.
They took advantage of that. They know it's not coming back there anytime soon. So
Yeah, those are all college kids. Like they got so much more energy than I have, you know.
Well, they were already drinking probably since like 5 o'clock in the morning. They were
Yeah.
like, holy shit, why did we even go to sleep when we got college
Hopped
games?
up on Taco Bell and booze.
Dude,
Yeah.
in college, West Virginia, TCU, when I was there, it was Halloween, and we didn't go to sleep the night before because we knew we had to be there. Like, it was just how it happened. It was nuts.
But anyway, Zach, before we get too far off topic, your take on the opening weekend basketball, even Memphis. I know you went to a few Memphis games last year, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Penny taking over there.
Yeah, I typically tune into the opening weekend because Michigan State's typically a part of it. Obviously, I'm a big Spartan fan, so it's fun, like, because they're not only good teams, but you've got these four. It's Bill Self, Tom Izzo, Krzyzewski,
The legends, yeah.
Calipari. So yeah, I mean these are good coaches facing off. So I'm always using it as a measuring stick because the Spartans are playing someone, and then they go through a lull in the schedule, and then it's how much better did we get since we played Kentucky or whatever. So I kind of like it. But yeah, like you said, Memphis is on with Penny Hardaway getting all these recruits. I went to one of their
the top recruiting in the nation,
which is nuts.
Yeah. I went to an exhibition game. They're fun to watch. So I don't know. Maybe if Penny Hardaway's there long term, 20, 30 years, maybe we see him on opening weekend eventually. I don't know.
30 years.
Hey, he's a young guy, man.
Longer than he was in the
It's
league.
hard to believe. Yeah, it's hard to believe.
So, what are we still sticking with basketball? Because this
Well, yeah, I saw your mouth open. What was that?
I was just saying.
Clemson is the 5th overall seed.
Wow.
On the outside
Five.
looking in.
Dude.
Wow.
Penn State's 4, which means I think Ohio State will be 3 because they're going to play in 2 weeks. But that's still nuts. Like the fact that Clemson's undefeated, and if they win out, like that's
On
the
the
only
outside,
way.
yeah.
That's nuts. That was a shocker for me. But anyways, continue.
So they didn't release the top 4, just the 5th?
No, so they did the
Well, they just
25.
tease into it.
They did the 25, and then the 6th, or Oregon is at 7. Obviously, everyone, when you're watching this, you'll probably already seen this, but
This will be like 4 days later when we release this.
this is a wild top. I did not expect this all. Either way, Georgia got 6, Clemson got 5, Penn State got 4, Alabama got 3, LSU got 2, and your fucking Ohio State got number 1. Wow, I'm shocked.
Look at that. I updated my collection back here. I got the old Urban.
Don't you know the point of the flag or anything behind you, but whatever.
Oh, the flag, yeah. I forgot about that.
So it's 2 Big Ten, 2 SEC?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they did it that way because Alabama plays LSU
Alabama,
this weekend.
LSU.
So
Ohio State still has Penn State this year, too, so.
Well, they play them in 2 weeks because Penn State plays Minnesota this week. I'm surprised my roommate behind me isn't going, "What it do, baby?" Because he's a freaking. We are every time a freaking Saquon Barkley touches the ball.
So there you have it. We've got the college football playoffs. So we'll transition into that. Obviously, we talked about some college hoops. Not a lot to talk about outside the matchups. Week 1, a long season. But getting into the real teeth of the college football playoffs, I guess the end point of the season. We just mentioned obviously this week Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Penn State in 2 weeks. Obviously outside your SEC championship, Big Ten championship, depending on how they play out, there's still a lot of big games to be played. So that's why when they release this initial one, a lot can happen. Obviously, with LSU, Alabama, one of those teams, even with a loss, do they drop out of that? Clemson's going to jump in. You would only imagine.
I mean, that's why I think they did it.
There's no way Clemson takes a loss. I mean, based on who they played. South Carolina's their last game. I mean,
and really, this is only Alabama's. This is the only game that they're playing, right? I mean, outside of, depending on where they go. I mean,
I say that,
Auburn.
but Clemson.
I mean, Auburn's not anything too crazy, but it's a game.
It's a rivalry too, so you can't ever
Iron Bowl.
really count on that. But I mean, Clemson's looked beatable, definitely. I mean, you saw the UNC game. They're a great team, but South Carolina has been able to upset great teams too. So you never know; they could actually take a loss because isn't that the last game of the season for Clemson?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
It typically is. It's an in-state rivalry, so.
I feel
Right.
like South Carolina and always Texas A&M always play some kind of spoiler somewhere.
Yeah, like you never know. South Carolina actually could upset the Clemson this year. They look beatable. They look weaker than they have, the past couple of years, in my opinion. So
Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. It makes absolutely no sense to me that Alabama is ahead of Clemson and Penn State.
Penn State.
Or sorry, that Clemson is behind Penn State and Alabama. That's what I meant.
The Penn State, Alabama part, whatever, because I think Clemson and Alabama are like the same team this year. Everyone just expects them to go undefeated and be like the powerhouses. They haven't really put on the crazy performances that they're used to. But I think that this ranking, Penn State, I don't think should have been ahead of Clemson. Whatever. I also just don't like Penn State.
I think this was a safe pick, though. For the first week, you're going to give them their due so they don't bitch and complain about it.
Yep.
Not that it matters, but I mean,
but this is why I think the polls are 50% bullshit.
50% of those teams are going to get a loss.
Well, this is just a cool thing to see, though. Like, kind of like the variety. It's kind of nice to see some random faces in there.
Well, they made some changes based off of the committee this year. Do they change it every year? Do they have?
They did try to adjust it, but usually.
I was to say because I saw in. What Condoleezza Rice used to be on it or something like that. So
yeah, the Browns head coach.
What didn't she used to be on?
Yeah, she was supposed to be.
Oh,
see, I would actually rank Alabama just above Clemson, and here's why. I agree they're both very similar this year, but just based off, I know Clemson's, the opponents that they played so far is slightly better, the records, but not much. And the only thing you can really go off is, Texas A&M. They both played A&M. Alabama beat A&M more than Clemson did, and Clemson had a really close loss, whereas Alabama hasn't. So based on those things, I would go Clemson 4, Bama 3, Ohio State 2, LSU 1. And honestly, like Ohio State, LSU, you could probably flip around. It doesn't really matter at that point. That's how I would put the top 4. I think that's the fairest thing. And then Penn State 5, just outside.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
I just think Clemson. This might have been the worst thing the committee could have done to Clemson because they are. If you're Dabo Swinney, this team that you just lit the fire under their ass, they probably didn't even need. If they're this top team that I think they are, because they're going to not just mess around. I don't think with teams anymore. They're going to just start. If they're as good as I think they are, they're going to start whooping on some teams. And
you might be right.
Okay, so speaking of, I don't know if you guys saw this. So speaking of Dabo and everything, Coach Brown's from Last Chance U, the old fired coach here, has been obviously with Twitter, not linked, but through Twitter.
Not
LinkedIn. People are bringing up his name for a Florida State job. So we just got a tweet that said Coach Brown. In the big arrow pointing to him over Dabo. So Coach Brown, and so the best part about this is they're saying Coach Brown better than Dabo, blah blah, blah joke. Well, Coach Brown just liked the tweet, so that's pretty funny there. So just to say you're talking about Dabo and the fire behind him. Could you imagine not to get too far away from the playoffs or something like that, like? Somebody like Coach Brown taking over a Florida State or a big program like that. I don't know how much you guys followed, that stuff, Netflix or Last Chance U. Outside of what he said, he was a fiery guy, intense. Could and again, I know I'm kind of the usual. Mark's gonna love this. I'm getting way off path. So could you see a guy like Coach Brown breaking into the a Power 5? A team like that.
I was gonna say,
who wants that job? Anyway?
No.
State,
you gotta prove yourself, man.
Yeah, Florida State. There's nothing about that job that at this point is.
Everybody knows if you're gonna go P5, you have to coach at the American. That's right, Zach?
I agree, absolutly.
You have to be an American Athletic Conference coach.
Well, that's how you start. That's how you start.
It's funny because I saw PJ Fleck was just mentioned for Florida State, and they and his team immediately signed him to a contract, to an extension. So
it's the worst thing to be in the AAC. You're just constantly. You're like, shit. We got 9 wins. Our coach is probably gone.
Dude, Temple's done that for how many years now? They just keep
and speaking
rotating.
Of Matt, what?
2
2 years ago when he took that Baylor job, I was like, well, career suicide. That was stupid.
Yeah, and
He
he's
had a
got them
great
back on the map.
job.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Baylor, like, no, dumb. That's never going to work out. Look at him now. What the hell?
Well, him and PJ Fleck have had like the exact same careers now. They took PJ Fleck took Western Michigan to whatever. He took Temple. They both went to their schools. Were absolutely terrible the first year, mediocre the second year, and now they're both undefeated to go into this season. But they have both those teams. I mean, Baylor just beat like my Mountaineers this past weekend, and we're bad. So I mean, it's tough. Yeah. So. I mean, like I said, I think they're doing great things and it's good. But like you said, back to Florida State, like that when Jimbo, Bo's just flying around.
Jimbo.
When Jimbo was there, like it was like holy shit, Florida State's back, like, and it's back to the powerhouse it used to be. Jameis, the whole thing, and now it's like you got Miami, even though they suck and. I still think Manny Diaz might turn that program around. Who knows? As long as he starts cheating, they'll be all right. And then even Florida, like Dan Mullen's got things going there, even though they haven't won the big games this year. Florida State's going to be the worst out of those three schools in Miami or in Florida. In UCF would he? Yeah, exactly. UCF. That dog agreed with that.
I was just going to say, yeah, somebody was going to crash it. But, actually, I was going to tweet this last week. Do you remember, like, what in 2-3 years ago when Houston and UCF were like all the rage, and now they're, I mean,
watch it.
UCF,
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like,
no, we're dog shit. UCF's not as bad as us. They haven't fallen that far.
Yeah, they only lost one game this year. They lost quickly,
but anyways, we'll get to our next topic before we get into the short span of NASCAR. Quickly. Oh man, where was I going with this? Lost the train. Playoffs. There we go. No, I got it. Yeah. Well, we're kind of talking about playoffs. You guys actually go ahead. You guys got anything else to add on that? I'm kind of
I was going to talk about how you can readjust.
Oh yes.
Because they were talking about we should move it to the 18.
Hold on, let me get my beer out. Go ahead. All right.
Oh no!
Make sure we're drinking out of it.
Feel free to interrupt me whenever you want.
Yeah. Can he talk now?
Can we call Jared in?
Is he not here?
This thing's moving on. Like we're only at 27 minutes and we're almost done. This is beautiful.
Yeah, actually, we need him.
All
right. I mean,
Savannah.
I've talked about this before. I think it shouldn't move straight to an 8-team playoff, but to a 6-team playoff. And a lot of people don't like this because they're like, well, this way, maybe not the best teams are going to play. But my thing is we have P5, and you take the conference champions from each conference in the Power 5 conference, and then a wild card, so somebody outside of the Power 5, specifically outside of the Power 5. So like Memphis or Cincinnati,
so the AAC winner.
Pretty much, maybe a Mountain West. But, just a wild card because those teams never have a chance. The cards are always stacked against them, and I think we do need some kind of system to where they at least have a shot, even just one of those teams, to at least prove themselves. UCF could have done it, and who knows what they would have done. Maybe they would have won the whole thing. I don't know. And I understand people will be like, yeah, but it might not be the best teams that route because maybe LSU and Alabama deserve to be there. But my thing with that is then win your fucking conference. Like that's it. Just win your conference and you move on. Like maybe you won't be facing the best teams, but you know what? That means we'll get some really great teams in these bowl games. And on top of that, you could play the toughest opponents week 1 just to kind of see where you're at, because it wouldn't be based off the standings and the polls at the end of the season. It would be purely based off if you win your conference, and that has nothing to do with your conference if you're playing non-conference games in week 1.
I think the way you do that though is that conferences have to eliminate divisions. Like the Big Ten could have Wisconsin playing against either Ohio State, Michigan, or Penn State, and all 4 of those teams can't play against Wisconsin if Wisconsin.
Yeah, maybe the other side's still watered down.
Yeah, so you'd have to just eliminate divisions, which I'm all about because there's no reason just because you're placed on a certain side of your conference that you should be screwed over by how you have to play the powerhouses of your conference. So I think, that works. I think the conference championships, like they try to say matter so much, actually should matter if you do the six teams. And yeah, like you said, like the Boise States and the UCFs and stuff like that always like are sneaking around there. Definitely deserve to get that line. Like, not just the Houstons when Dana Holgerson gets them to 10-3 and not good enough to make the. Trust me, I went 8 years with Dana Holgerson. He ain't gonna get you nowhere other than maybe there.
Dude, it's different,
Maybe
all right?
there.
Different.
So what's your guys' devil's advocate? So based off of this scenario, your Independence, your Notre Dame. Not that you ever have to worry about them, but I mean,
ever be allowed after that Michigan game. They should never be in the top 4. I grew up a Notre Dame fan. I've faded off ever since I went to school, and they are a joke. You cannot lose to an awful offense in Michigan, 45 to whatever you lost. Like that is just embarrassing. I would have fired Brian Kelly on the spot. Like you're just a mediocre team. You're supposed to get all these recruits. Oh, it's a disgrace.
Also, just join a fucking conference.
Yeah,
that's what
You're
I'm
doing that. Just join a
getting those big
ACC
bucks
for the Big Ten, and let's go. Like, move on. I'm sick of it.
Can we all agree that, like Mark said, if they join one of those conferences, they quickly get knocked down a peg and they don't have that relevancy? I guess.
Do it. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
obviously,
and the cashing in. You know,
yeah, I get that. But yeah, they would get spanked. They would lose like 3 conference games at least, regardless. You know, especially in the Big Ten, maybe 4.
Probably in Maryland or something like that.
Well, like I don't know. I've never really looked at their recruiting, but I wonder if they would help their recruiting because obviously they always have these guys that look like studs, but like they never pan out. And like I feel like guys don't want to go to Notre Dame because you don't see a bunch of NFL prospects anymore out of there. So maybe if they went to like the ACC would probably be it, or the American Conference. You know, make a name for that. And I don't know if it would help them if like or because people are probably tired of like I don't want to go to Notre Dame because they're always overrated. But then again, I cannot factually base that off of recruiting because I have no idea. As much as
there's our college football analyst right there.
Yeah,
Marc,
it was Mr. Cop Out.
Mark
Hot take, but it might be completely wrong.
So again, like I said, before we get into NASCAR, I got this for Mark. So, well, actually, you guys can all weigh into this real quick. So Carolina obviously today put a Cam on the IR, pretty much ending his season. To me, ending his career with Carolina because they immediately saved $19 million by cutting him by the end of the season. So the reason I say Mark is because you got Allen as your quarterback right now, and nobody's even talking about Will Grier. Grant, he hasn't done anything, but he's their backup. So is Carolina setting the stage, obviously, to rid Cam Newton? Are they done with him? Are they happy with what they have? What do you guys think on this? And Will Grier, is he eventually going to be a starter in the NFL?
Well, I guess I'll start because I don't think, from what I've heard about Will Grier and like looking back to his time in West Virginia, he only threw to receivers that were open. I heard that's all he does, even in preseason and in practice. Is like he only
isn't the fucking point of the game?
Yeah.
No, but like
I like that. I like that idea.
You got
really good coaching, man. Who was the person? That sounds great.
Jesus, this is hot take. Can we flash that like neon?
Name a quarterback that like receivers aren't always open. You have to sometimes make them open. How you pass?
Name a quarterback. Exactly. Matt Stafford, threading the needle.
Yeah, just freaking lost to the Raiders.
Yeah,
but
we beat the Eagles.
I lost money. I lost money on that. Okay, so thanks. But so yeah, I don't know. I mean, what are we even talking about? I got so fired up there real quick.
Cam Newton.
Yeah,
Cam Newton.
Is he done with the Carolina?
I mean, I still think he's the best technical quarterback on that team based off of who he is and like what he can do possibly. But like, I think it's just time. I think it's a good time for them to be like, you know what? I think he would even be like, you know what? Yeah, like send me somewhere else because
Chicago.
Chicago would be wild. I mean, Trubisky's. If we could go down that road, he's gone there, and he didn't even get hurt other than his whatever shoulder.
He might as well be hurt.
I mean, Nagy might kill him. He might. Matt Nagy might be starting. Yo, Trubisky.
Dude, every Bears
fan,
fan,
my address so I can shoot you like that.
Every Bears fan that had the biggest heart on for him in the beginning of the season quickly turned, and it has been the greatest thing in the world. Granted, I'm a Lions fan. It's fine. But every year there's something that makes me feel good about being a Lions fan, and it's the Bears and the Browns this year. So,
well, Trubisky's still on his MVP run, so I mean, we got time.
The worst part is the Lions are probably gonna get shellacked by the Bears this week. So whatever.
I don't think they have the ability to do that. I mean, the Eagles
To
did everything.
shellac anyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Eagles did everything in their might
The
to not
Lions
win
give
that.
everybody the ability. So,
But I think Cam Newton's time in Carolina. I mean, it was probably smart to put him on IR because I mean they have a chance to make the wild card spot this year. I don't know if Kyle Allen's the real deal. He's just kind of been the Gardner Minshew, but a little better, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, I think Cam Newton's done, and he's probably heading to if he ends I mean, he could be a trade bait, or the Panthers could even be like, screw this, we're going to trade up and try to grab one of these top quarterbacks. You never know.
I'd be honestly surprised if he was anywhere else. I mean, he posted on Instagram when he was put on IR that he's pretty devoted to Carolina. But I mean, and like Marc both said, it's he's the best quarterback that they got. So I think so. To be honest, I'd be surprised if he went anywhere.
I don't think he cares that he's not playing either.
$19 million. They can say
he's all about his new fashion stuff he's got going on. His hair is just speaking to us. So I mean, it's just wow. Speaking of hair, have you ever seen DeAndre Hopkins? We should start talking about that because
him and Will Fuller, they've got some kind of nicknames.
Hopkins is like they just it's like a tripod that just sits on his head. I don't know how he just does that and goes out in public. It's like, dude,
you ever see those dudes get tackled by their dreads? Like their dreads,
you probably just start breaking them off.
They just snap
exactly.
off.
Because they're just not real hair anymore. It's just I don't know what it's called.
It's not real hair.
I don't know what you call it. Just...
Rattlesnake, you got anything, or are you just waiting for the 5-second NASCAR plug you got?
Oh man, are we gonna talk hockey?
I don't know.
I don't think we had it planned.
Oh, we can.
I mean,
Jesus, yes.
Did you hear about Evander Kane, Zach?
No. Oh, on Twitter, you mean, or
I just saw something. He got sued because he's got $500,000 in credits with a casino.
Nice. That guy sounds tight.
Dude, wasn't it like 3 years ago he got low key someone said he raped him and blah blah and everything came out. He was cool, but I feel like, dude, once you're in that situation, and don't get me wrong, he was accused, he wasn't found guilty, but I feel like it just follows you. Stupid decisions in general.
Yeah.
$500,000 in credit. How many times did you sign up for that free entry to get that to reach out to $500K?
That's dope.
He's just saving it up for the one game he knows he can just blow and just make all that money.
All right, Zach, I need to know what hockey team this year is going to be an underdog that I should be rooting for.
Like the Knights 2 years ago.
Pass is adopted the Knights.
Yeah, I mean, you could get behind the Sabres. They're top. Nobody thought they were going to be at the top. They're near the top right now. They're not so much underdog at this point, but
I said the Red Wings. They're going to make a big run.
No, but oh my God.
So we're all Red Wings podcast. Red Wings, belly up, Red Wings.
You make me cry, man.
Yes, it's sad, but anyways, is that the extent of the hockey talk?
I just want to know who I should start pretending to care about if anybody asks.
The Vancouver Canucks.
I don't like Canada.
That's
no, give me something that's not Canadian.
What's the closest to Houston, I guess? Or I mean, what's the closest
Dallas,
out there to Texas?
Dallas.
No,
you're supposed to. Oh yeah, that's right. Wow, you're so tough to work with, man.
You're
so tough to work with.
For a team, he lists 4, and you're like, nope, can't do. Nope.
How about the Ottawa Senators at the very bottom? They're Canadian. Shit.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of other options other than Canada and Dallas. Those are my 2 stipulations.
Yeah, Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, it's misery. Florida Panthers, man. Get behind the Florida Panthers.
There we go. I can take that. I can take it. Thank you.
Take the
They got the worst logo, so if you can live with that.
Let's go Panthers. You need the best logo. I'm a huge Panthers fan.
I think
it looks like a soccer logo.
Did you guys ever do? You guys rank the AHL logos, right? Did you ever do the NHL? Did you do the NHL?
Yeah, I did the NHL.
I thought you did that.
Yeah, the Florida Panthers are dead last. Last.
I'm looking it up. It's not that bad.
It's not a hockey logo.
It looks like an MLS logo.
I was thinking of their old one.
Yeah, the old one is sweet.
Jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Because they always tweak that.
Sorry, I can't get behind them anymore.
All right, we need another one.
We need another expansion. We need another expansion.
Yeah, expansion.
I mean, can you live with Philly fans?
When the Panther,
is that not Penn State's logo? I'm honestly, I think they just took Penn State's logo and then put the red ribbon on top.
Dude, look at how cool that old logo is.
Yeah, the old one was OG. That's cool as hell.
Those things got some claws on it. Jeez.
Yeah, that's badass.
But that's like tear you up. Now it's.
I'll
like,
be a Panthers fan, but only
when they wear the throwbacks.
Yeah,
Anaheim
exactly.
Ducks.
I'm very specific Panthers fan.
Always
Not just
Ducks
your
fan.
average.
They wear those jerseys.
Right?
Is there an up and coming NASCAR driver I can get behind?
Oh, here we go. Let's transition to NASCAR.
Yeah, absolutely.
Christian
Well,
Eckes.
up and coming. You want somebody already in the Cup Series, right? You don't want to have to like follow a guy that's like young and upcoming. Like
But I don't want someone that's like, he's probably gonna win. I don't want that.
Right. Okay. Let's see. A really good one.
With a cool name, preferably.
I'm on Fathead right now, so just give me a name.
A good one is Ryan Blaney.
Blaney.
He's young, and he is in the playoffs right now, so he is competing to go to the championship. But he's young and up and coming, and he's like proven to be really talented. I would say maybe like Chase Elliott, but he already has a lot of fans behind him, whereas Ryan Blaney's just now kind of building up a fan base.
What car make does he drive?
Ford.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
See how reasonable Zach Max being during this? You all for like two names.
He's like,
just because I'm so quick with like.
Yeah, I mean, Zach named 4 hockey teams. You're like,
he could have said Jack Nicholson, and I'd have been like, "This is driving
young guy, up and comer in the Cup Series." I'm like, boom, boom, boom. I got it right off the top of my head.
So Rattlesnake does within the next, I would say 5 years for sure. Next 2 to 3 years is Haley Deegan bigger or with on par for Danica Patrick?
I mean,
she already, I guess, based on.
I was gonna say based on like social media, she might be surpassing her sooner than that. But it just depends on what happens when she goes to the Cup Series and how she can perform, because she's performing really well at her level right now. And K&N.
I was just gonna say, honestly, to tell you the truth, the race that we went to, the ARCA Series, I was very surprised with how aggressive she is.
She's very aggressive. That's like her
GoDaddy ads?
problem, and she's pretty clean. What's that?
But I work for GoDaddy.
Yeah, and she's got clean passes and stuff. And the best part is obviously you guys that don't follow it, you probably hear the name, you're like, whatever. But Ryan Deegan from the motocross, I guess what is it considered, FMX now? I don't even know, freestyle. He was like one of the pioneers of the X Games and stuff like that. That's actually her dad, which is.
What did he do? The first 360 or double backflip or some shit?
Something like that. He did. Yeah. He said did
really
something, but he's like essentially. Well, when I say our age, maybe my age, maybe a little, or probably in his closer to 40s.
Well, Haley's just turned 18.
She's 18. Yeah, she just turned 18. So you're talking I think based off of social media alone, following, she's either the number 2 or the number 3 biggest.
I think it's number 3 most influential.
She holds that much weight based off social media in the entire racing industry. But Leeway, you went to the race this weekend. I don't want to spoil it for your viewers on Chairgate, but how was it? Give us a little taste.
Toaster. David
Allison, yes, absolutely.
Some nice throwback. Trying to make NASCAR rad again. That's what we're here to do.
So you don't like throwbacks, right, Rattlesnake? You hate throwbacks.
Yep, hate it.
Especially like on shirts and whatnot. I think you just don't like throwbacks.
I was just gonna say, check out our shop.
Throwback shirts. Anything that's like 80s, I hate. No, I hate everything current. I'm like
sucks.
Yeah, I'm like a boomer, but in the body of a millennial.
You just wrote an article you just released today. If you want to touch on that quick.
Yeah, the 13 raddest NASCAR paint schemes, 2019.
Yeah, it's hashtag make NASCAR rad.
We should. I didn't know which one to do. Like here, NASCAR.
Whichever one's a throwback.
Yeah, exactly. What's the more throwback? I don't know. Yeah. That's right. So it was a good race. A lot of people were talking shit about the race itself. It wasn't as bad as people are saying. But on my podcast Chairgate, I'm going to go on a really long rant about my experience at Texas Motor Speedway because I'm pissed off. So I have a lot to say. And also, we're going to try to do some more videos on Burnt Rubber Racing Network, the YouTube channel that we've started with the Belly Up Racing guides. So we're going to be posting more videos on there, kind of like what you're seeing here, but just a lot better and talking about more interesting things.
Too much. I'm not even gonna edit this. I'm just gonna post it so it makes it at least for the college football playoffs.
Absolutely.
It is wild to me that there's a difference between a good and a bad race in NASCAR. I'm just like, I didn't know there was a difference. They all just kinda,
is there a good and bad football game? Yes.
Yeah, I don't. They, what like the changes like in the lead or like what kind of
lead passes?
Trying to learn here.
Yeah, lead passes are really important because really it's just like what's entertaining to watch, right? You want to see guys in closer packs, competing for a lead and racing hard. Whereas if there's like a distance and they're just what we say follow the leader, where they're just in a straight line, just going around the track, that sucks. Yeah, that's boring. You want to see packs and then going on the high line, the low line, changing lanes and trying to get passes. That's what makes a good race. That's why a lot of like NASCAR fans like short tracks because that's a lot more possible in a short track. You can be down like 2 laps and next thing you know they're in the lead. And you can also be a lot more aggressive on short tracks because you're not going as fast. So it's not going to like nearly kill the guy if you put him into the wall. He'll be pissed at you and he might try to fight you after the race, but
that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. If you put somebody in the wall on purpose at Talladega or Daytona, you're gonna get sat. Like that's not cool. You could like kill that guy. So short track racing always great. If you want to ever watch like entertaining NASCAR, definitely check out a short track like Bristol. It might be like me trying to watch hockey, where it's just so fast that I have no idea what's going on. So it might be like that for you with a short track because you're like they're just doing this really quickly. I don't know what to watch. That's me with hockey. The puck's like doing this, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm watching.
Oh shit! Oh no!
Yeah, I'm like, how have they not scored yet? This is insane. It was
still skating.
I watched the Rugby World Cup. Did y'all watch that?
Did not.
No.
I've seen it in live, but not this year.
Not.
What were you sitting on the couch at like 2 a.m.?
Yeah, no, literally, it was like 2 a.m. Like, fuck it. It's the World Cup.
Infomercials KJ wasn't producing.
I was like, this is top level in the world. Let's see if I can get into rugby. This is it. And I can't. It makes no sense. The weirdest thing I've ever watched. Like, what are they doing? They're all huddled up, and then they, like, pass the ball back.
The ball just shoots out. Yeah.
Have you ever watched cricket? That's how I feel watching cricket.
No, I've never.
What are they doing?
Cricket's where they can just launch it backward, right?
Yeah. It's like a foul ball is a home run.
But you see it on top 10 plays all the time. You got these dudes just laying out.
Or some dude just like I don't know what those balls are made of, but they just bare hand them.
Yeah.
That sounds weird, but whatever.
That was our random sports segment.
Yeah, we need to do a whole episode on weird sports. Each one of us just pick a weird sport to watch.
I just say we just went around the world in 10 seconds. So
look where NASCAR takes us.
But anyways,
hey, there was a wild badminton rally on Twitter the other
day. So speaking of that,
Jared's not even here, and we're actually going long. So let's pack it in here and let's go roundtable real quick. I want to. I'll start off here. This is really random. Actually, Rattlesnake reached out to me earlier in the week and said, I don't know how much you guys have been following this, but Deadspin pretty much had a giant debacle, and their entire company left. So he's like, dude, what do we have to lose? Let's just say, hey. Let's reach out to them and say, hey, let's kind of work something out. We'll give you some riders for some publicity or whatever. And I said, all right, cool, whatever. Not expecting to get emailed back. So I email everybody I can. I get about 10 emails back because all the Deadspin emails that are on the website are riders that have been cut, so they deactivate their accounts. So I end up sending an email to the info at I guess it's Gizmodo Media or something like that.
Yeah.
Moto Media. And so I just sent something which I think they're owned by them or Gawker or something along the lines. Either way. So I sent an info, whatever, blah, blah. Just said, hey, we're willing to blah, 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 do this. Our shit price sucks compared to what
by the way, he wrote blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're going to blah, blah, blah.
I said, if you're willing, we're not looking for money. We're just looking for, backlinks, blah, blah, a little help here. blah 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 again. So I
Don't
wake
forget that
up.
one
You didn't even have to add blah blah blah.
Yeah,
You said
so
we're just looking for blah blah blah.
It pretty much
backlinks.
just looked like you ever see the
You could have took
Muppets
that
when
out,
they
and
were
the
like
sentence would have been
Beaker, so
complete. That's incredible. I mean,
so I shit you not, I wake up the other morning, I get on the email, and I've got an email back from them. I'm like, oh my god, and so I pulled the email, and it says, thanks for reaching out. We are certainly in need of good pieces right now, particularly on football and basketball, but not only those sports. If you could send me some samples of work you think would be good fit for Deadspin or writers who could pitch some ideas, I would be interested in take a look at them, and we can take it from there. So I'm like, okay. So, I didn't send anything to Rattlesnake, but I'm like, I'm going to send some emails or send some articles. So I sent like 6 articles. So as I'm doing some research, I'm looking, and I read who this is from. And the guy's name is Paul Maidman, I believe is how you pronounce it. Well, to you guys, unless you're following this right now, and not to drag this on, but Paul Maidman is actually the guy that responded back to me. He is the reason that everybody walked out at Deadspin. He is the guy that told that everybody to stick to sports, pretty much squashing everything. He's a writer for Forbes magazine, kind of a big deal. So when I saw this, I'm like, wow, I got to send him some good stuff. So I'm pumped. Send Rattlesnake a message, dude. They responded, blah blah blah. Yes, blah 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 again.
Yeah.
I
was waiting for it.
So this was last night. So this morning, I get up and going to work and checking things out, and I get a message from I think it was not a message, but the New York Times or something like that. So I read this big article about Deadspin, and the person in charge of Deadspin that made all these people quit has resigned. Dude, it's Paul. He resigned. He read our emails yesterday, said he was going to take some of our writers on, possibly send some stuff over to him. He resigns from Deadspin today.
that's how bad that shit is.
That's where Belly Up is right now.
Yeah, people quit their fucking jobs when they read how terrible our articles are.
I immediately
what is
went
happening?
From the biggest hero to getting a 6-figure paycheck maybe one day to maybe we should just pack this shit in. The dude resigned, and I'm not even joking. You guys can go and Google this dude right now, and he's a very prominent person, and he just straight read our shit and told Deadspin he was done.
Yeah.
So that's
like
that's my
this is how low it
roundtable.
can actually get. Life is
When he saw Belly Up and blah 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 blah, and he even contemplated it. I'm not even shitting you. Like the email's right here. If you want to see, I've got it. Where is it?
Print it out.
I got my notes
you
on
got
it. Yeah, I
it
printed that fucker. I'm putting that motherfucker in a frame. You guys think I'm joking?
No, I mean it was a good idea though. It was a good idea because I
It was
was
a great
like,
idea.
I think if anything, we should be happy he resigned.
why? No,
He
was
saw this shit.
fine.
He's like, I can't compete with that. I'm done.
Exactly, and there was no pun intended there.
Yeah.
And dude, the dude just was high over his horse and he just couldn't do it anymore.
No, it was a good opportunity. They're burning right now. So I was like,
literally, they had a writer come on, wrote one article, and just got. After that one article, quit because it just got burned by the stake. Everybody was just blown.
Everybody was like, what do they call it when you cross the picket line or whatever? Scab.
Scab,
Scab. They
Exactly.
just were like,
we don't need to be a part of that.
dude,
People
I
don't
don't
hate
care
us
crossing
yet.
a picket line. Fuck them. I
You
don't
want to
fucking
sell
know
out
you.
for some money?
I'll sell it for anything. I don't know you. You're not my friend. You're not my family. I don't care. So that's why I was like, dude, tell him I'll start writing over there. I don't care. You call me a scab on Twitter. I love it. That'd be great. But
Watch your follow just swell. But anyways, my quick roundtable turned into 10 minutes of Belly Up, how bad Belly Up is. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening right now?
Am I
It went
fired?
from the highest.
Should I
Should
take this off? Do I need to
We
burn
went
this?
from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in a matter of 12 hours.
Guess what? We still here.
In Deadspin's not so much.
Deadspin's
So,
not.
so the market's wide open. So yeah, where do we go from here? What do you guys want? What do you guys got to play?
Wait,
Well, since it doesn't really matter anymore, I guess I'll just I'll plug some NBA since we didn't talk about it. The Suns obviously killing it, 5-2. They've lost 2 games by combined 2 points to Denver and Utah. So they handed Clippers their first loss. They handed Sixers their first loss. And the hilarious thing to me is on Twitter, everyone's like either A, shocked that the Suns are good, or B, don't believe that they're good. When it's like, literally, this is what they've been doing for 3 or 4 years. Just tanking and building up prospects. And then once the league thinned out, like, honestly, I think they're the smartest franchise ever. Like, LeBron was going through his prime, and they're just sitting back and they're like, you know what? No, yeah, they're like, we're not going to deal with LeBron James going through his prime. You know, the Warriors, they did it.
Money out there, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, for the longest time, if you wanted to win the NBA championship, you had to go through LeBron at some point. So the Suns are just like, we're not going to deal with that. Let him do his thing. And once the league thins out and LeBron gets older, we're going to be ready. And that's what we're going to see the Phoenix Suns.
Wow.
Nope.
That was intense.
I gave it 2 to 3 years.
Still?
2 to 3 years from now.
I mean, the Suns.
2 chips in 5 years at some point.
Woo!
Within the next 10 years.
2 in.
I'm writing down 56 minutes.
Wait, in 10. Okay, so in 10 years, within those 5 years, within the 10 years, there's 2 championships.
So there's a 5-year stretch where they got 2 championships, and maybe they make the Western Conference Finals 2 of the other years.
Not only is he a puck insider, he knows all about the NBA.
Just watch, bro. Just watch.
Let's not forget the Mets went.
We'll forget about this when they're good, and nobody give them credit. But
no, you're gonna forget about this when none of that happened.
You sound like everyone on Twitter. This is what we've been waiting for out of the Suns for years.
That's fine. That's fine. You can be 5-2, beat the #1 power ranked Sixers, whatever. But they should be. But like their guy, DeAndre Ayton's out now because he freaking took steroids or some shit without even knowing. So I mean, I agree. I mean, it's kind of. I'm surprised it's taking this long for them to be like kind of good because they had like the Devin Booker. They got Bridges. They got rid of Jackson because he was kind of a bum. But like, I agree, they should be good. This is just kind of finally what it's. And you could like tanking is good for the like teams that don't tank the NBA.
It's good for the NBA.
I mean, they're like you might as well. Like you're not gonna. Like I don't know. I as a Sixers fan, sitting through the shit was very nice to at least be really decent now. Almost top team.
Yeah, so you should know.
I agree. I mean, I just think guaranteeing championships is a very bold and standout.
That's my thing. I agree that I think they'll be good. Just 2 championships. I'm like,
did I not throw enough blah blah blahs in there?
No. Should have been like 2 championships in blah blah blah. I don't
yeah, but
before I die, there's gonna be 2 championships in Phoenix.
You probably read those articles and was like, "Are you kidding me?"
That's fine.
Whatever.
That's my round table.
I like that round table. It was a little more positive than the goddamn belly.
It doesn't matter anymore. You know, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Just the fact that somebody from Deadspin sniffed our stuff out and then immediately resigned. Whatever.
It's probably my last airtime ever.
Why you had this point? Puck, pass on to get out of here.
So Marc or old Rattlesnake, who wants to go? I
thought he was about to. Holy
no, shit. I was pointing at you. You go. You're good.
I was rock paper scissors shooting, but so mine is Booger McFarland.
I'm here for this.
You gonna blame it on him?
I watched that stupid Cowboys Giants game last night, and I thought Chris Collinsworth was bad, and he always be like, "Here's a guy," and all that stuff. He does his lean. Chris Collinsworth like likable now, even though he clearly bets on these games because you can hear it all the time. Anyways, we're shitting on
no accusations in this episode.
We're shitting on Booger McFarland. I'm tired of everyone shitting on Jason Witten last year. Yes, he was a robot. He stunk. Booger McFarland might be one of the worst broadcasters I've ever listened to in my entire life. Every person he talks about is good. Like, it's just not how it works. Daniel Jones is not the golden child. Danny Dimes, he's not this amazing, has had a great start to his NFL career and all this stuff. He's saying Dak Prescott, like, he just loves every person he talks about. I hate the people that are on sports that are like, get paid to do what they do, and they just talk very highly about everyone. Not everyone's good. People stink, and you got to put it that way. Booger McFarland, He needs to just not be in the booth anymore. Go back to the Boogermobile because I'm tired of him. I'm done with it. Congrats on the beers, Mike.
Look at how big my hand
Look
is.
at it. Look at it.
Look at it.
You sound like
Look at
Booger
this.
McFarland.
Yeah, my hand's the biggest thing and the greatest thing ever.
He'd be like, Mike Brown's got the big hands that can hold his beer so great that he's just going to be a franchise quarterback that's going to make it no matter what anybody else says. Just because he has big hands that can hold beer. Like, no, Booger. He's not an NFL.
No booger. Yeah. Anyways, are we done? Or we want to talk about booger or Deadspin or
One last
Rattlesnake?
question.
Yeah, I was just
One
gonna
last
say, you
question.
take us home. What you got?
This one's for Zach.
Oh god.
You
No Canadian teams. I already got it. I know.
sound like Sam Darnold.
Dude.
Hey, what do you mean you already know? What
There's so many snippets out of this article I've wrote down so many
no,
times.
I'm
already.
honestly interested, Zach. Is Memphis going to finally win a conference championship?
Oh man, that's a lot of pressure. They got Cincinnati as their last game too. Realistically, no. I think they shit the bed against Cincinnati.
Is it in Memphis or Cincinnati?
I don't think they have any more home games, if I'm correct. So I think it's in Cincinnati.
But the Phoenix Sun.
Yeah, watch out for the Phoenix Suns, though.
Two
That's what I'm
shits,
saying.
5 years.
Yep.
All right, that was it.
All right. Well, like usual, the wheels fell off towards the end, boys and girls. I'm glad you joined us.
Yep.
This is
To
it.
Dead's-
See you guys.
To Deadspin, to Booger McFarland, to the Phoenix Suns being the world champions. Cheers
Next
to
week
that.
it's just Jared.
If you ever see, the best part is I put my life savings into Belly Up Sports, and the rest of these guys at least have some kind of segue.
Swan
They got,
song?
they got chair gain, they got puck pass.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Mark's gonna break off and be the next. I think he's got something worked out with who are you
The
talking
Cheers
to?
theme song.
Who's your pin tweet with?
Oh, SVP. Yeah, my guy.
Yeah, Van Pelt. All these guys are bigger than me. I'm going down with Belly Up. So cheers to the Belly Up sponsorship of Bud Light. I appreciate you guys sending us the beers and me not having to pay for them. I'm totally lying, but yes. Anyway,
Wait,
about everything.
no,
I want to be part of that deal.
no. So to chair gain, to puck pass, and to whatever the fuck Mark's doing these days.
Unemployed
Watch
now.
the videos.
I'm glad he's a part of the snippet company that we've absorbed. That yes, that Deadspin was going to give us a piece of the pie, but whatever. But appreciate it. This is episode 15. Who knows if we make it? Who knows if we make it to 16, or if at this point our company is deleted.